You're like, what? With Mother's Day yesterday, we figured, we either had our own mothers that we can think of. You may be mothers yourself. You can be mothers of fur babies, stuffed babies, human babies, or so forth. And no matter what ages they are, we understand what love can be. So let's just sit in a nice, comfortable seated position. You can choose to use any kind of prop to help you rotate your pelvis forward if you like. And just to keep this a little bit more grounded, placing your hands just gently on top of your thighs. Have your crown of your head up toward heaven. If you like, you can close your eyes. And just connect to your breath. Just inhale and exhale. Seeing what you can release if there's any tension in your jaw, your shoulders, perhaps even your feet unconsciously, or your hips. Just allow it to relax. And as you inhale, just to really feel the expansion. Just let yourself filling up with love. And as you exhale, helping to allow that love to spread out. 1 Corinthians, we know that love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoings, but actually it rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, and hopes all things, endures all things. As we allow that truth to permeate through our entire body, allow it to also permeate in your mind. And understand that today's practice, as we do different poses and sequences, that we can be kind to our own bodies, listen to what our body is wanting. We can definitely love others, but they say to love others as we love ourselves, but are we truly loving ourselves? That you may want to open up your eyes, inhale your arms all the way up toward the heaven. Exhale your hands to heart center, slightly coming down. We're going to immediately get onto your hands and knees. Your knees are directly underneath your hips. Wrists are directly underneath your shoulders, shoulder width apart. Knees are underneath your hips, hip width apart. We're just going to do a couple cat-cows or entries. So just again, go to your own range of motion and really feel your vertebrae being able to get this nice little flexibility as you inhale, drop your belly down. Encourage your gaze upward slightly. And as you exhale, round your back so that you're into your cat pose. Inhale into your cow. Exhale to your cat. Just connecting your breath cycle. And then when you're ready, just and back up into your neutral spine, tabletop, gaze still down toward the mat. And we're going to tuck your toes. And as you really make sure that you're not pressing too much weight into your palms, into the wrist area, I want you to kind of grip into your hands, but maybe if you want, you can maybe take a step up with your hands by half a handprint. Move it forward a little bit. And then as you get ready, we're going to go into our downward facing dog already. So as we inhale here, before we do that, just slightly lift your knees up off the ground. Engage your core, nice strong core, strong back, protect your back. And as you exhale, slowly start lifting your hips, your sit bone up toward heaven, pressing your hands into the mat, pushing the mat away from you. And as we slowly start to straighten our knees, and maybe it's not straight completely, you may want to walk your dog. And we know so many people love their dogs, or if you're a cat person, you love your cats. So just walk, pedal them out. And just think, these pets, I mean, it's just amazing because you can love your pets, but the pets just love you back. Inhale your heels up off the ground, tippy toe. Exhale your heels back down. Do it again, inhale all the way up. Exhale it back down. We're gonna slowly walk our feet up toward our hand. I had mentioned, as we hang in forward fold, I had mentioned if you want, you could have had a chair. So that was an email I sent out about having a chair. If you don't have a chair, that's okay. But if you do have a chair, I'm going to show you how you can use that for some of our balancing challenge. So as we hang down in forward fold, Uttanasana, you may grab your opposite elbow and just allow that gravity to pull you down. You can feel that nice expansion in your lower back. Release your hands down to the floor. Both feet are nice and solid, nice firm stance there. As we inhale here, exhale, walk both hands over to the right side. Give you a nice little stretch. Inhale your hands back to center and walk it gradually over to your left side with your exhale. If you want, you can do it again with next breath cycle going over to your right side. And all the way back to your left side. You feel kind of like the hip flexors start to get stretched along the outside. And then slowly engage your core and come rounding back up, stacking one vertebrae over the other. Inhale your arms all the way back up. Exhale, slow slight back bend. Inhale back to center and bring your hands to heart center there. All right, so we're in our Tadasana. So your hands are down by your side, shoulders down and back, broad chest, broad shoulders. Your shoulders aren't by your ears. And just do a couple sun salutation here. So inhale our arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale your hands, if you want to, your shins nice flat back. Exhale your hands back down, take a step back, your right foot. You can always use the blocks. Feel the hip flexors, nice and stretch. Check your knees over the left ankle. Place your hands down, take a step back, your left foot, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. You can always drop your knees and you do your knees, stretch and chin, or you may want to chatter on this. Lower yourself back down and then inhale to nice little baby cobra. Nice use back muscle, but really just imagine yourself shining your heart forward. Your gaze is actually so down at the floor slightly, so you don't really want to kink your neck. Be kind. Exhale, tuck your tongue, pushing yourself back up into your downward facing dog. Bring your right foot forward toward your right hand. You can always walk it up. Take a step up with your left foot, forward fold, and inhale your hands all the way back up to the sky. Exhale, slight back bend. Inhale back to center. Exhale all the way back down into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, nice flat back. Exhale, your hands back down, take a step back with your left foot. Placing your left hand onto the floor. Inhale your right hand up into a nice little spinal twist. If you want, you can bring your gaze to your right hand. Exhale your hand back down. Take a step back to your right foot, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Again, knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Inhale to baby cobra. Perhaps your back spine's a little bit more open. But again, listen to your body. Exhale, tuck your toes into downward facing dog. This time your left foot forward. Right hand still planted on the floor. Inhale your left arm up to the sky. Might want to bring your gaze up there. Exhale your left hand back down. Take a step up with your right foot. We're in your forward fold. Inhale, nice little flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And then you come up with your inhale. Exhale, like a little back bend if you like. Inhale back to center. And last time, exhale all the way back down to the floor. Inhale, nice little flat back. Exhale, back down to forward fold. Take a step back with your right foot. All right, your right foot's back, but we're going to keep the heel up off the ground. You may come into the crescent balance, or if you want, you can place your hands on the left thigh, come up. The crescent balance. Shining your heart upward. Great praise. Exhale your hands back down to the floor. Take a step back with your left foot, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. You do chaturanga or knees, chest, and chin. And if your spine feels ready, you can go into upward facing dog if you like. Baby cobra is still completely fine. Exhale into downward facing dog. This time, right foot forward. Make sure it's nice and planted. Keeping your left heel up. You're going to come up into that crescent balance. Just think, hearts facing up heavenly. Exhale your hands back down. Take a step up with your left foot. Forward fold. Inhale your hands to your shin, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale your hands to heart center. All right, so we have just now completed our sun salutation. Hopefully you're nice and warm. And one of the things that we said is about love is patient, all that stuff. So here's what I mentioned as far as the chair is concerned. Again, if you don't have a chair, that's fine. A chair is just a wonderful thing for a prop. So let's say you do have a chair or a wall, but if you have a chair, what you may want to do is have it to the point where it's in front of your mat. And this is why, like, when we're going to be working on different areas, it's just a great way to be a little kind to your own body. So you'll have it so that the back is facing towards you, and you can just be able to use it as a support. So we're going to stand back at mountain pose with your feet at hip width apart. Inhale your arms all the way up. Exhale as you take a step back with your right foot. Plant your right foot down. We're in that warrior one. If you want to make sure, if you're not quite sure, you can always stand first sideways, both kind of like a parallel, and then just rotate your left foot 90 degrees toward the front, and then your back foot, your right foot is at 45 degrees, and then you point your hips up toward the front. So warrior one. Check your knee positioning over that left ankle. Should still be able to see your big toe. Inhale here. As you exhale, we're going to go into our warrior two. So let's rotate that right foot so that you're now at that 90 degree from your front. Nice and strong. Go into a peaceful warrior. Bring your left palm upward. Feel a nice stretch. If you like, you can even rotate that palm now up toward heaven. Receive. See what feels good for your neck. You don't have to look up. If that does not feel good for you, you can always look down. Your left knee still over there. Inhale back to warrior two. We're going to go into humble warrior. So we're going to slightly rotate your hips a little bit to the front. And then you may want to clasp your hands together. So it really helps opens up your heart. Humble warrior, and just make sure your feet are nice and stable. You're going to slowly bend forward so that you're on the inside of your left knee. Drop your shoulders down and perhaps bring your arms up. So humble or bowing down in reverence. So we talk about endure all things. So we may be able to persevere in terms of strength.
Okay. Now what?
And not bring ourselves first. Slowly bring yourself back up. And bring arms all the way back up. If you want, you can cartwheel your hands all the way down to the floor. Take a step back with your left foot. You may choose to do a child's pose, or if you want, you can do a vinyasa flow. So if you're in child's pose, feel free to stay there. If you're in downward facing dog, you can as well. Above your head, and come back up into downward facing dog. This time, if you like, you can lift your right leg up behind you, three-legged dog, and bring your right foot forward. So as we get ready to go into our warrior one on the opposite side, so you plant your left foot down, come up into that warrior one. Exhale into warrior two. Being ready for that peaceful warrior, rotating that right palm upward, coming back behind. Nice lateral stretch along the right entire side. Again, same thing with your gaze. If you like, you can flip that palm upward and receive from God all the glorious promises He has for us. Exhale back into warrior two. Bring your hands behind you, interlace them. You may want to rotate your left heel slightly so that your hips are not a little bit squared, and come down into that humble warrior. So drop your body on the inside of that right knee. You can always have your stance a little bit wider. If you feel like you need a little bit more stability. Allow your head to just relax. Allow that neck to relax. Really feel that strength. Come back up slowly. Bring your arms back up into the air and exhale your hand back down, cartwheel down to the floor. Take a step back, your right foot, downward facing dog. You can do a nice little chaturanga, so inhale to plank and then exhale, knees stretching chin, or nice little vinyasa flow up to an upward facing dog and a downward facing dog. All right, this time left foot up behind you, three-legged dog. Exhale your left hand toward your left foot toward your left hand. May drop it in and go into your warrior one. So we're back into warrior one. So one of the things with balance challenges, if we do these warrior threes, it's a little bit challenging. And so making sure that we have a little bit more stability and such. So you maybe bring your hands to the chair if you had a chair. This is the option. You can always use blocks, but chairs makes it a little more accessible because look what happens. So if I'm going to move my foot back, if you bring your right foot forward and lift it up, you can either choose one or two things. Hardly using, but you're noticing a lot of core just to keep you up, a lot of core to keep your hips balanced. And so this is the option that we have. So before we do that, let's come back up and standing. We're going to show where the stability is within our hips. Balance chest. So I'm going to be facing you right now, and then I'll switch back over there. So with your hands down by your side in Tadasana, I'd like for you to place a little bit more weight into your right foot. Just lift your left knee up, keeping that foot flexed. So right now you can probably feel a little bit of bouncing amongst your right foot, the ankles, as you kind of straighten it up. And then let's bring it back behind you. So let it swing back behind you. Try not to tilt your hips too much, but your foot's behind you, and then bring it in front. So it's almost like letting it swing, but really slowly. You can feel the stability. Feet. Good. Front. And if you want, bring it even out to the side. And then if you bring your arms out, so we're going to do our start pose. The right arms up to the side, kind of an angle. You slide straight down from your left leg all the way to the right. Bring your left knee back up, arms back down, and then drop it down here. Beautiful. All right, we're going to do the same thing to the other side, and then later on we're going to actually go to a warrior three, but we'll do the right side first, or I should say left foot down, so left side first before we do the same thing. So same thing here, nice strong Tadasana, mountain pose. We're going to bend our right knee, so bring the right knee up. Keep breathing, you don't want to hold your breath here. Straighten that right leg. And then slowly bring it down. Bring the right leg behind you. And bring it in front. Allow it to swing back and forth. So you can choose to either have the knee bent or see what happens when you don't bend the knee and you're really feeling engagement. So we're working the psoas. For you runners out there, think of all that muscle you're constantly doing. So working the core, and then all the way to the right hand side. So a right leg to the right. Extend your arms out so you can do your star pose. Bend your right knee, bring it in front. Put your hands down and take a step down. Great. So that's the balance challenge. Really good job. A lot of subtlety. So again, this is where we don't have to like be so harsh and quick and stuff like that, but still get build up strength. So again, a lot of love to the different areas. Also, falling down, especially as we age, the worst thing is when you fall down, you can break things. So working these areas for balancing when we walk. I mean, honestly, we don't normally stand in a tree pose all the time, but we do walk or run, and usually it's only one foot's contact to the ground. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go into the full warrior three, which is when you're forward and use your left or one leg is behind you, your body's forward, and that's challenging. So you can always get to whatever prop you have. Could be the wall, could be a table, could be a chair. So keep that in mind. So this time we're going to have our left foot still as you're standing foot, and have your right behind you. So it's almost like a warrior one. Arms up. As you exhale, you fold forward at your hip. You may want to start lifting up your right leg. I'm going to use the chair. Try to see if you can keep your right hip and left hip still parallel to the ground. And as I continue to work on the stability of my ankles and my feet, the chair is a wonderful prop for me. So I'm actually using a lot of weight onto my chair. But you can also feel the extension along your upper back. For me, it's almost like a nice little stretch. For those that are actually doing warrior three on their own, a couple options. Having your arms extended over your heads sometimes can be challenging. So you can always have your hands at heart center. And that makes it a little more accessible. And then I lose my balance. Okay, so once you're done with that one, you can come out, kind of move, rotate your ankles and your wrist. And then we'll get ready for the other side. So you can just slowly build this up. You're going to notice how one side feels a little bit better than the other side, if we want to call it that. And this is where you become a little bit more aware and just work on that. So same thing, right foot's now going to be your standing foot. Left foot's behind you. Inhale your arms up. And as you fold forward, getting a little bit more stability in the right leg, extend that left leg up behind you. I can so tell which side of mine is weaker And I've noticed it a lot during these last several months. With me sitting so much, I've really gotten weaker right side. So same thing here, as you're feeling it working, that's fine. I'm using my chair a lot for a prop, but what's cool is I can actually feel the different areas along my hips, the glutes, those muscles starting to really at least being worked, so that's good. I'm gonna just have fun with myself and try to bring my hands to heart center and watch myself come down fast. Maybe not. Yeah. And then when you're ready, you come back out. So you can actually feel the different areas and it's going to be working. So this is the beautiful part of for ourselves as we continue to try different poses, areas that muscles in our bodies that we normally don't use, but yet if we don't use it, we'll never use it. So it'll come in handy there. So, all right. So as we go into that position, you're gonna inhale, arms all the way back up. Nice little back bend. Exhale, forward fold. We're gonna take a step back with your right foot. Rotate that heel down. So your left is in front of you. I'd like for you to plant your left hand right on the inside of your left leg. Send your right arm up. So we're almost like in a side angle, the cheating side angle, right? So you're a lot lower than you normally would be in a side angle. If you'd like, you can maybe even bend your right elbow, or see if you can bring your back of your right hand on the back of your sacrum area. So you're nice and open up. If you can, see if you can start straightening your left leg and then extend your right arm back up. So you're now in a triangle. Bend your right knee, come back up into your warrior two. Beautiful. Straighten your left knee and then come into a standing straddle. So facing, I guess now it's facing your right or whatever side you're facing. Okay, so nice standing straddle. Rotate your right foot 90 degrees. Bending that right knee, so you're in a warrior two. Bring your right forearm down to your right leg. Send your left arm up. We're in that side angle. You may notice how it's going to be different from the other side because coming from the top heading down, we're not going to be as deep. Extend your right hand down toward the earth. You can hear my vertebrae getting into place. Start straightening your right leg into a triangle. Breathing. Can you feel your left hand stacked over your left shoulder stacked over your right shoulder stacked over your right hand? Bend your right knee a lot. Come your hand all the way down to the floor. Take your both hands over to the right side, your right foot. Both on either side of your right foot. And then we're going to come back up into your warrior one. You can actually cartwheel your hands down to the floor, take a step back, your right foot into that downward facing dog. You can choose to do either a child's pose or a vinyasa flow. So go back into your plank, knees, chest, and chin, or you just try and run it down to your upward facing dog. Let's all go into our child's pose. So you can either have your toes touching each other, heels wide apart, or if you want to feel the expansion of your back ribs, just keep your knees still close together. Feel the beautiful expansion as you breathe, giving yourself some love. If your hands, shoulders feel a little tight, you can always bring your elbows to the width of your mat. You can always bring your hands down by your ankles, palms facing upward, if that feels better for you. And then planting our hands above our head at shoulder width apart, you're just gonna come back up into that tabletop. We're tucking our toes again. We're gonna push ourselves gently back up into that downward facing dog. Lifting that right foot behind us, three-legged dog. Exhale your right foot down to your right hand. Don't ask me why. I keep trying to get our foot to become a hand. And then plant your left foot down there. We're going back into our warrior one. Let's bring our hands down into cactus. Hearts open up toward heaven. And as you exhale, bring your hands toward each other. Maybe slight little arch your back. As you inhale, open up. Exhale, kind of bring it together again. Inhale, up. Exhale, together. Swing your hands behind you. Take a step up with your left foot. Hands at heart center. Scooping your arms all the way up again. Exhale, forward fold to Uttanasana. Inhale, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. If you like, you can take a step back or you can jump back. So yogi's choice. I'm wearing shorts that are too tight, so I won't be able to jump back. I was like, ooh, I could sit in these shorts, but I didn't realize it does not give me as much movement accessibility. Bring your left leg up behind you, three-legged dog. Bring that left foot forward toward your left hand. And then plant that right foot down. So we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So we're in our warrior one. Cactus arms, hearts open. And then connect with your breath. I mean, this is how much God loves us so much. So exhale in, right back. Inhale. Exhale. I love this so much. Even when we were sinners, sent us the Son. Bring your hands all the way down behind you and sweep up with you bringing your right foot up. Nice little back bend. Inhale back to center. Exhale your hands to heart center. All right. Let's get down to the floor when you're ready. You're gonna take a seat. You're gonna be in a seated straddle pose, so your feet are nice and wide. And let's just say you don't, for whatever reason, you don't want to be sitting on the floor. You can always do a standing straddle as well. Asana Padasana. So check your feet. Your toes should be straight upward. Check to make sure that they are straight upwards. It may have a tendency to want to rotate inward outward. So this is a great way to, again, work your joints there. So if you're at, and you can always like sit on, a couple blankets or whatever to lift it up. Again, especially if you have tight hamstring, especially if you have really strong muscles and therefore the hamstring's not going to be stretched as much. This is going to help it. So imagine yourself just starting to fold slightly at the hips. And you don't have to have your legs out so wide, so you can choose. But you're going to feel what happens when you're slowly folding at the hips. Keep your back nice and straight, your spine nice and straight. Your gaze is actually down on the floor. And just imagine with each inhale, your spine's elongating, you're getting taller. And then with each exhale, you're just relaxing. So perhaps you're able to come closer to your mat or your floor. But again, the purpose isn't to be touching the floor. It might just be as your body is able to release. What can you release to God? Options that you can do with your hands. Your hands could be along your legs. It could be on blocks. It could be maybe on the floor in front of you. It depends. So, depending on how much for you may decide just to have some blocks. They could be at different levels, higher, lower, whatever. Give each choice. All those standing postures that we had, especially with warrior threes, those balancing ones, really works the muscles, and we don't realize how much tension we hold around in our hips when we trying to quote unquote force ourselves. And with today's theme being on love doesn't mean we're going to always just be in a restorative mode, but this is when we do ask our body, when we show love is also not just in words and speech, but also in action and in truth. So there are those times where we need to cater to the patience of our own ligaments, muscles. Sense how your lower back is feeling. A lot of times if it's tight, you can always back out a little bit and then keep breathing. Again, feel yourself elongating with your inhales. And then releasing with your exhales. I'm going to slowly just bring our hands underneath our shoulders and lift ourselves back up. And I'd like for you to see what happens when you slightly rotate your body over toward your right leg. So a couple options. You can either keep your left leg straight. If you want, you can even bend it in so that your left sole of your foot's up along the inner side of your right leg. So we're going to fold forward over the right leg. So almost the same thing as when we do our wind removing pose. So we're trying to stimulate that right side, the ascending colon. So now focusing a little bit more on the hamstring of the right leg. It may not feel like it's a major stretch because you did actually already do significant stretching along that right and left hamstring. But this time you're trying to provide a little bit more focus on it. So you may now feel a little bit more of a stretch along your left side. Coming back up. That's much. There, you can now switch out your left leg straight. Again, you have the option to choose to bring your right foot in and then come over to the left side. So if you don't like to fold forward in this sense, you can always do this on the ground, lying on your back. You can use a strap instead. And when you are in these different positions, we talk about hopes of all things and endures all things. Can you feel yourself relaxing around the jaw, or are you holding things in, holding any tension in? And slowly come back up. And your soles, your feet toward each other for Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose. That should feel pretty open already. If you like, you can just make flap the wings slightly. Have your heart still open, the crown of your head still up toward heaven. If you want to give any love to your toes, you're more than welcome to interlace your toes with your fingers, just to kind of spread it out. You don't need to if that totally grosses you out. But it's always nice to give love on your toes. Our feet do so much for us, and we take them for granted in many ways. So, wonderful way to give that attention. All right, we're going to get ready to go lie on our backs. So, if you want, have some blocks nearby you. And get onto your back, go into our bridge pose. So your gaze is going to always remain up toward the sky. Your feet are on the mat, but at hip width apart. Your knees are bent. Your hands are going to actually be down by your side, but your fingers, so your arms are down by your side, but your elbows are bent 9 degrees so that your fingers are pointing up toward the sky. So you're almost like robot arms. Okay, so you're lying on your back, your knees are bent, your soles of feet are on the floor at hip width apart. You can feel your arms on the floor except for not the forearms. So the forearms are 90 degrees from the mat, fingers pointed up, palms facing toward each other. Gaze is now up at the sky as well. Perhaps you're going to feel yourself starting to flatten your lower back into the ground. So you're slightly tucking of the tailbone, lifting your hips up so that your knees start coming away from you, lifting it up. Gaze remains up toward heaven. Keep your eyes focused on God. As it lifts up there, you keep your shoulders nice and broad and really feel your shoulders, your arms down on the ground, making contact. Keep breathing here. You may feel your gluteus starting to tighten, squeeze in. Make sure your knees don't flare out. So just it's so in that hip width apart. And slowly lower yourselves one vertebrae at a time, making contact with the floor. You can actually feel probably right on the outside and the inside of your knees, the strengthening there. So by going slowly, you can really work these different muscles. So we're going to do this 2 more times because we have a total of 3. So if you want to, you can do the same thing. Start flattening your lower back, lifting your hips up, your knees start going away from you. Nice and slow. Feeling a nice little stretch along your hip flexors. We're in our bridge pose. Feel those glutes nice and tight, squeeze inward. Everything's coming in toward the center line, except for your knees. Your knees are not coming in toward the center line. They're staying nicely aligned with your hips. Feel your breath. Breathing, you can feel the expansion of your heart, and then come back down. And then your last time. So this is the third one. Third one's the charm. Flatten your back, start lifting your hips up. Knees going away, your hip flexors are starting to get a nice stretch. Loose nice and tight, and then slowly release. Cross your right ankle over the left thigh. And then just slightly use your right hand just to press that right leg away from you and feel a nice little stretch. Because you did work your glutes, it should be a nice little stretch. Hug your right knee toward your chest and release your fingers just to hug it there. You may want to extend that left leg straight. You don't have to. If that's an option. You can always keep it bent. This time you're going to bend the left knee. Place your right foot back onto the floor. And then bring your left leg up so that you can cross the left ankle on top of the right thigh. You have the choice to maybe use your left hand to just gently press your left leg away from you. Nice little stretch there along your left glutes. If you like, you can now bring that left knee toward your chest and release your fingers around that left leg, hug it in. You have the option to straighten that right leg along the floor, or you can keep it bent. And then when you're ready, you're going to go into your final resting pose, Shavasana. So you can either go legs up the wall. If you still have the chair, you can always choose to have it so that your calves are draped over the chair, so it's at a 90-degree angle at the knee. Or you can go into traditional Shavasana. Soles of feet at the corner of each mat. Shoulder blades, your angel wings tucked underneath. Hands down by your side, palms facing upward. Close your eyes, just relaxing. And as you're resting here with each breath, I'd like for you to notice as you inhale, just feel the love. Just inhale love. God breathed life into us, and just think God loves us. God is love. So as you inhale, breathe in love. And as you exhale, you can feel the love just permeating through your body. It's almost like that warmth that comes through your body. It's that love. Continue to do that. And wherever that love goes, you can just feel that area of your body just relaxing, releasing any stress or any tension it may have. When you're ready, just bring some motion back into your body and awareness. You're just gonna wiggle your fingers and your toes. Perhaps rotate your ankles and your wrists. Go in the opposite direction. Inhale your arms over your head. If you like, you can walk your feet toward each other. I'm just doing a nice little stretch here, like full inhale here, nice stretch. And then you bend your knees and have your feet touch, soles of feet touch the mat. And then slowly roll over to your right side. Keep your head on top of your lower arm, just to keep your cervical spine in alignment. Remaining your eyes closed to still be inward. And when you're ready, using your upper arms, press yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Your hands resting gently on top of your thighs, palms facing upward. You'd like to seal your practice with the eternal love that God has for us. You may have your thumb and index finger touching each other gently. Do 3 nice breath cycles, cleansing breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out breath, open mouth breath. Another inhale here. Deep exhale. Third inhale here. Full and complete exhale. Blending your hands together, palm touching palm, thumb resting right above your heart, tucking your chin down toward your heart. May this practice provide you with the knowledge of how much God loves us, how the love that we give to others, we need to also provide for ourselves, being patient, kind, not rude or arrogant. Thank you for coming. Namaste.